Hello everyone, I'm Atul Dahale and welcome to my incredible chess channel. Today, Hikaru Nakamura played amazing game, guys. Once again, you can say like he is the comeback king in this FIDE Candidates Olympiad, and what a game it is against Alireza Firoza. So, guys, we will be going through the game. So, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. Let's begin. The game started with e4. Hikaru Nakamura is white. His opponent Alireza Firoza is playing with the black pieces. He opted for Sicilian e4 c5, knight to f3, and now d6 was played. Well, you can see like he is going for the Sicilian Nadorf opening for sure. d4 was played. C captures d4, knight captures d4, knight f6, knight to c3, a6. Well, all these moves are pretty standard, and we all are familiar with this structure that is called as the Sicilian Nadorf. Okay, so here bishop to e3 is played, and now e5. Here in this position, Nakamura has previously played several other moves like knight b3, knight e2, and knight f3 as well. So here he goes for knight to f3, which is not that common move, you can say. Many people opt for knight to b3 and so on, and there is a huge theory in that line. I'll not get into it, but just to let you know. So here he plays knight to c6 here. After knight f3, knight c6 makes more sense when you play. I'll just show you. When you play knight b3, usually the knight is placed on d7 square and not on c6 square, because it might be coming to c5 square. It will be controlling that square also. So here the structure is little bit different after knight to f3. So he goes for knight c6, bishop c4, immediately controlling the d5 square. One thing I would like to tell you, whenever you push the pawn to e5 square, d6 pawn has become some kind of a backward pawn, and the square in front of the backward pawn is always a weak square. So we should always try to control that square. And from black side, black would like to always try to play like d5 move and release this bishop, because once your backward pawn is exchanged, your tension is gone. Okay, so here he plays bishop to e6, still trying to play d5 and control the d5 square. Nakamura says like, okay, I'm not going to allow that thing. I'm going to put my knight in the center of the board with knight d5 move. Here he calmly plays rook c8. Everything is normal until this position. Knight captures f6. It is played in this situation. Okay, if you don't play that move and if you play some other moves like let's suppose you can even castle in this position, you can think about it, but that might be a little bit bad move, because knight will just capture the pawn on e4 square for no reason and you will lose the pawn. So we have to always pay attention to opponent's threats, what he is going to do and what he is going to capture. One thing I would like to tell you, that instead of this and directly if he goes for knight captures e4, it is not that good idea because of the obvious move, that is bishop to b6 move. And the thing is that the queen is under attack. Next move knight c7 followed by knight captures a8. It is a fork, and I think black will just lose the game. So that's not a possibility to capture the pawn on e4. So he plays rook c8, controlling the c7 square. Right now, even if you play bishop to b6, we don't need to worry. We can play queen d7, knight c7, rook c7 will be played. So here he captures knight f6, and this is the main turning point of the game. Everything changed after this game, after this move, you can say. So here the thing is that normally queen captures f6 has been played. There is a very famous game between Maxim Bichel-Lagrev and his opponent. I guess it was Morozevich, who played this queen captures f6, and the game went on to play in a different way, because like you can say like here bishop captures e6 was played, queen captures e6, then knight d2 was played, then d5, e captures d5, queen captures d5, and then queen came on g4 square. Although another move like okay, the point is like just to pressurize the pawn on g7 square and so on. But okay, that's how it was played in that game, and I hope that you understand. The basic idea is to get something on the king side in this position. Okay, fine. So but in this position, queen captures f6 is a very natural move which was played previously, but here even Michael Adams also played queen f6 in one of his top level games. But here Alireza decided to play g captures f6, which was a serious positional mistake, you can say. And after this, Nakamura did not fail to convert the advantage. Means okay, he is not having winning position or anything, but he is having positional plus position. I will tell you why positionally it is better for white. The thing is that these pawns are weakened. The d6 pawn is always a weakness, even though you will get d5 at some point, but still the pawn structure, that is at 7 f7 f6 e5, is a little bit shaky, and black's king will find it a little bit difficult to defend against white's onslaught, which might happen whenever he gets the queen g4, this kind of move means knight can come here on f5 square, and I think black will be in trouble. And that's what exactly happened in the game also. He launched his attack in a very beautiful way. So first of all, he played bishop to b3. Knight e7 is played in order to play d5 at some point. He said like, okay, I'm just going to castle in this position, no worries. Bishop captures bishop, a captures his pawn captures bishop here, and then finally plays d5. But Nakamura already knew what he's doing. He captured the pawn, queen captures d5. Whenever you are having good position, you should not exchange too many pieces. Remember this thing. So he plays queen to e2, trying to retain the queen on the board. Knight f5 was played. Okay, this knight might be coming here on d4 as well as on e3 square. It can capture, but he says like, I'm going to grab the only open file in the position, that is the d file. See, whenever you are playing the game, always remember, capturing, or you can say like occupying the open file is always good for your rook. So you should always look for that thing. Queen c6, the pawn on c2 is under attack, so he plays c4. Now d5 pawn, means d5 square is also a weakness which is under white's control now. Queen rook d5 followed by this rook will be coming on d5 square, and I don't have any doubts that the white will be controlling most of the squares in the center of the board. So here he plays bishop to g7, rook d5, as I told you. He castles in this position, and now he brings the rook to d1 square. So all the important squares are controlled by white, and the advantage, the positional advantage is growing. The bishop on g7 is little bit restricted in this position. If this pawn was on g6 square, black will be very happy, but the pawn is on f6 square, and it looks like it is not that happy position for black. Okay, so he plays rook e8, and now he plays h3. The idea is like just to make sure that you will always have this square. And another idea, which is a hidden idea, is knight h2, knight g4, and maybe he can point out towards the black's king side. So here he plays the move that is b5, trying to get some counterplay on this side of the board. But he said like, okay, I'm not going to allow you to capture anything, I'm just going to play c5. And okay, after c5, maybe this is the threat, and he will always have this connected passed pawn on the queen side. So he plays bishop f8, which particularly is not that cool move. He plays b4, and suddenly Alireza spots his chance, and he says like, okay, I'm going to play knight d4, and the rook on d5 will not be having any squares to go around anywhere, and exchange up position will be there because the rook on d5 will be falling for sure. But Nakamura had seen something more in this position. He is a brilliant tactician, and he understands the value of the pieces, the imbalances in the position. The imbalance is that the king on g8 is a little bit exposed, and if he can get his pieces towards the king side, then black will be just checkmated. And that's what exactly happened. He captured, knight captures d4. Of course he can capture, he captures d4 in this position, but then queen g4 check, king needs to move, and then he can just simply capture the pawn, and I don't think so black will survive in this position. So here, as per the plan, he captured, queen captures d5, but then knight was swung over to the f5 square. The thing is that the king is in danger, the queen is under attack with the rook on d1 square, and okay, he played queen to e4, trying to stop this queen g4 move. Earlier it was possible for Nakamura to play queen g4 check, which was more straightforward, you can say. And after this, king h8, and this is kind of better because the queen will not be having the central square. Okay, he can play queen to c4, which looks very interesting, and then only he has to play queen f3, and the game will go on. But I think maybe because of this reason, he did not go for that thing. So he played knight f5 first, and then queen e4 was played, and then he brought his queen to the king side. Very powerful. There are so many threats. Bishop h6 followed by exchanging this bishop, and once the bishop on f8 is exchanged, the checkmate is very near. Okay, so he plays rook e d8 square. And my question to you guys, you can pause the video and think whether in this position you should go for the rook exchanges, or you should retain the rook on the board. Well, I hope that you have thought about the position, and the move which was played by Nakamura was very interesting. He played rook a1. The point is not just to capture the pawn on a6 square. The idea is something deeper. You will come to know about that thing. But if you have opted to play the rook a1 and retain the rook on the board, kudos to you. Thumbs up, guys. And with this note, don't forget to like this video also. I hope you are enjoying. Rook to c6. He is trying to cover everything, a6, f6, all these pawns. But as per the plan, as I said, the defender needs to be removed. So he plays for bishop h6. Remember this thing whenever you are playing the game. If your opponent's king is exposed and he is having very few pieces to defend the king, then it is a good idea to remove the defenders. The defenders, if you just reduce the checkmate, or you can say the game is going to get over very soon. So he plays king h8, and now the magical move which appeared on the board and which just ended the game right away was rook a3. This was the main idea of playing rook to a1. He wanted to get the rook to the other side of the board. That is the magic of the rook. The rook lift. Okay, and here, okay, Ali Riza was down to just 2 or 3 minutes, and he had to make lots of moves. He just played queen to b4. He captured the pawn, but Nakamura said like, oh, no issues. I'm just going to capture this thing. Even you cannot prevent anything. Queen h6 was played. Queen f8 followed by queen and also the queen g7 checkmate. Threat is there. Even though you give a check, there is no issues. Like you can always hide on h2 square. That is the value of the pawn on h3. If this pawn was on h2 square, then white had to look for that checkmate which is happening on the backhand. So always a good idea to keep one square for your king. Okay, so rook g8 is played. The f6 pawn is protected, but as I said, there is only one thing is that the defender needs to be removed. So he plays rook g3, going for this rook into g8, king into g8, and then queen g7 checkmate. Even if you give a check, that doesn't really help you. It is just lost position, because this check cannot be stopped. Even if you capture here, first this check, and then queen g7 check and mate. So here, okay, he tried one last trick, you can say, like not trick, but he played this move, f into g3, and still this is just lost position. Queen g7 checkmate cannot be prevented, and even if you try to prevent anything, the like queen f8 checkmate is also there. So in this position, Ali Riza decided to resign the game, and the game was where like over. Truly spectacular, crushing game by Nakamura. You can say he is just coming back one game after another, and I just love to see how he is playing in this tournament. Okay, Nepo is still leading the tournament, but the games which are being played by Hikaru Nakamura, they are really amazing. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'll be coming back with some interesting video very soon. Till that moment, take care, goodbye, and love you all.